This is Writing Weekend. Writing is a practice met daily, either on the page or off. These two exercises will help you find balance in that practice. I'm going to write with you. 2 minutes on the timer. Let's go. Hi, welcome to Weekend Writing. Whether it's a work in progress that you want to get a fresh perspective on, or you just need to create a state of mind that's going to enable you to actually begin a project, these exercises are going to kickstart your writing weekend. So today I want to talk about obsession and passion. So this has been inspired by a favourite writer of mine, Natalie Goldberg, and I think I was most recently reading her guidebook on writing memoir, which is Old Friend from Far Away, which is full of lots of handy tips and exercises. But I just love the way Natalie writes. She has a very dedicated writing practice, which is something that I really believe in, that little and often, and that really works for me. So this idea about obsession and passion, I thought it would be really useful to look at. The idea that an obsession can really diminish your life, but a passion can enlarge your life. So what do I mean by that in a writing context? Well, sometimes, and I certainly know this is true of me, I can step into a place with my writing where it becomes more of an obsession, where I'm spending all my time thinking about writing, but I'm not actually writing. And that state, for me, I observe that just drains me. It doesn't give me any sense of positivity. I'm always thinking about writing. And if I'm thinking about writing, it generally means that I'm not writing. So if we switch that into passion, essentially passion to me is the actual act of writing. So the obsession is the thinking about writing, the wanting to write, whereas the passion is the act of writing, where the passion is really there and present, and it's producing fruit. So I wanted to explore that. I wanted to explore what happens when you're in the obsession zone and how to get from the obsession zone into the passion zone, where you are fueling your life rather than just draining it away. So I've got 2 exercises, and again, it's the same format. We're going to spend 2 minutes on each exercise. I'm going to be right there doing the exercises with you. I got the timer, so let me just get that up on the screen, set for 2 minutes, and I'll let you know when the time's up. So the first exercise that I have planned is write about a character who is passionate about the act of writing. Good or bad, essentially what I mean by good or bad is whether the act is producing good work or bad work, doesn't matter. The passion is in the act of writing, the act of getting those words down on the page. Just to see another word on the page totally lights them up. Okay, so 2 minutes, write about a character that is passionate about the act of writing. Off you go. Okay, 2 minutes. So that was interesting. Let's just take a moment to reflect. So I started with a character that I wasn't thinking of as myself, but maybe you felt that the character you were writing about was yourself. But I wasn't writing about someone who was so completely different from me, but I was writing in the third person. And I started really simply with my character loves writing. And as I really imagined myself into that place, and I began to imagine what would it be like to love writing and to love that act, I began to look at the words on the page as a completely visual thing. So it was no longer about finding the right word or finding a really clever way to say it, but simply just the shape of the letters and the beauty in a totally visual aspect. So then I began to see that putting one word after another was a really beautiful act, and that eventually when you have enough words after each other, the line fills. And then when you filled a line, you then go on to the next line. And then when you have enough lines coming after the other, you suddenly have a paragraph. And I felt so completely in the moment. And there was a moment about 2/3 of the way through that I realized that. And I thought, oh, this is a perfect mindfulness exercise. I was completely in the present. And I was just seeing the simple act of letters and words and sentences. There was no sense of where am I going to get to, or like, what does this even mean? And have I even written anything that makes sense? So my mind felt really empty as I was completely focused on the visual. So for me, that was a real insight into when passion for writing is really there, it can be a simple artistic act where the mind is just looking at the words appearing on the page rather than worrying about whether I've used the best word, whether I've used an impressive word, whether I'm describing this in a way that's going to impress my reader. It was simply just a joy to get one word down and then another word down. So I really enjoyed that. Okay, we're going to move on to the next exercise. And the thing I want to say about what I was thinking about when I was planning this this weekend writing is a phrase that Joyce Carol Oates said, and it goes something like this: that the perfect state for writing only comes when one begins writing. And I think that these exercises today really tap into that, which is they get you writing and they get you realizing that as soon as you start writing, and when you're writing with a positive intention, suddenly that state of mind comes where I'm like, oh, I'm actually really enjoying writing, and boom, there we go, the state has arrived. It's a bit like saying, how can the state for writing arrive when you're not actually writing? So you have to be writing for that feeling and that desire to write to come upon you. Okay, so again, following on this idea of shifting from obsession, where you're just wanting to write or you're thinking about writing, into passion, which is all about the act of writing, where you are fueling your life, we're going to step into passion. So what I want you to do now is to write about a character who has a passion about something. And it's completely up to you. If a passion comes to mind straight away, then choose that passion, go for it. If there's a character in your work in progress and they already potentially have a need for a passion, or they currently have a passion that you want to explore, fine, use that. But specifically, the state of mind of that character is a passion for whatever thing it is. If your mind is blank and you're thinking, oh God, I don't know what passion to write about, then you can join me, and I've chosen the passion. A character who is passionate about windows. Okay, so 2 minutes on the clock. You can either choose your passion or you can write about a character who is passionate about windows. Off you go. Okay, 2 minutes. So how did that one go for you? If I was to reflect, I would say that what I discovered, and I think this came to me about halfway through, was how that feeling of passion can be generated. I wanted to choose something supposedly mundane, or I thought was mundane, like windows, because I thought I wanted to explore the challenge of creating a passion for something that doesn't make the response of passion really obvious. As soon as I went into looking at windows, knowing that I had to look at windows through the eyes of passion, I saw how they were so passion worthy, because they're basically these doorways into worlds beyond the world that I'm currently in. And as I was writing about a character who has a passion, I thought, I'm completely generating this passion. So it really made me understand that a passion for writing, a passion for one's work can come simply by the act of sitting down and writing about passion. And suddenly I really felt that feeling. And there was a moment when I considered that it didn't matter that my character was the only person in the world that had a passion for windows. And I wrote, passion is perfect company. It does not need external approval. And I thought that was really interesting, because if one's really passionate about their writing, again, there's not that fear of like, oh God, what are people going to think about what I've written? If you have passion for your writing, it's beautiful company. It doesn't need anybody else to say anything else, because you really feel the truth of that in your heart. So there we go. The writing weekend, the 2 exercises. So maybe you did this on your own, maybe you did this in a group of people, and think about how you want to do the exercises next week. They work in so many different ways. You can gather together as a group, you can do it individually and then email it along to a friend and get them to do it, and then you can share your experiences with each other. So many different ways that you can do writing weekend. The only thing that stays the same is that I'm going to be here next Saturday. So I'll see you then. Bye.